that's the thing about that, because, and I guess that's also, it kind of leads into, some people are saying, hey, he's a Jeffrey Epstein of hip hop, and then also when it comes to that, people are like, well, did no one know until it got too late?
That's the problem. I think so many people, like, they always tried to do this thing, again, they did it with me with Jeffrey Epstein. It was nonsense, right? They tried doing it with my father because, like, he lived in Palm Beach and he came to Mar-a-Lago in the early 90s. Like he was literally thrown out of Mar-a-Lago in the early 90s. Like, he was like a member. And my dad's like, no more, you're out. Because, like, there was these rumors, and he was like, I just don't want to be a part of that.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they called him, like, in the bathroom.
Well, no, but he was trying to pick up, like, girls that worked in the spa. And he was like, no more of this shit. Like, you're out. So
leave my workers alone, man. Get out of here, man.
Yeah, so there was always something about him that we never quite... So he threw him out in the early 90s, but that's why it's so odd that even after he went for it, not like innuendo or like rumor, like the guy went to jail, he comes out and he's having dinner with, big media personalities and Bill Gates, and it's like, no, but here's the one. Notice how it's always the one picture with him and Trump? There's one picture of them together, and they're like, it's like from 1992, and they're like, they were great friends. I'm like, how come you don't tell the rest of the story? How come you don't talk about the other guys that were friends with him in 2017 after all of that shit?
Right? That I watched like the documentary. That was even spooky, where they're like, yo, the first time he goes into court and when he gets caught with something, and they're like, that court proceeding is like wiped from the record. You can't even find it.
It's just gone. You know what I mean? And so,
is that rich privilege, or is that like, hey, listen?
No, that's more. That's like he's got shit on people privilege, and like as long as they're working that, like it feels to me like there's no way he wasn't working for someone. Whether that's there's the people say, oh, he was working for Mossad in Israel, and he was basically there setting up powerful people, right? Setting up powerful people, get them in a compromising position. Whether it's Prince Andrew or one of these people, like get them. Hey, we got a picture of you with an underage girl. Now you work for me. It feels more like that than anything. And then, he got too far, so he was no longer useful or whatever it may be, and that's when they take him out. But like,
all right, we're going to just react to that one. So, we talked a little bit about corruption and power, man, about how things go on behind the scenes, so to speak, that we're not privy to. Let's go ahead and get a few thoughts on it.
I can just say that, we all know the saying, what's done in the dark comes to the light. So, there's nothing a lot of things don't go unhidden for a long time without, some light being shown on it. People think that they are exempt to the rules based off of status or finances, right? But eventually things will catch up to you, and we're seeing that in this case, right, with Diddy. So what's in the dark does come to the light eventually.
All right, we're gonna get you on that, Marcus.
Can you rephrase or re-ask the question?
Well, they were just talking about like a lot of things that happened in the past, but the primary thing they was discussing was about corruption and power, and how often when you're in a position of power, if you do something wrong, or sometimes they may just take note of what you do wrong and then use it against you or hold it over your head. And now you're put in a compromised position to be a puppet until they don't need you anymore.
Yeah, well, life is ran off leverage and extortion, right? So most times people figure out ways to get in that. I'm talking about in high power politics and business world, right? Not everyday people. I seen how y'all made the face. So when I mean leverage and extortion, I mean like, have anybody seen the show Billions?
Hey, Marcus, I agreed with you. I was just laughing because it was like spot on.
Yeah, like you on a micro and a macro level, you can break down where those things hit and how people gain leverage, how they utilize leverage, what extortion looks like. I think when you don't have the leverage you want, you go to extortion as an ultimate means to get it at that level. So with the type of leverage that he was able to get on people, and I believe Diddy is probably in the same position. They say when they scrolled his house, he had cameras in every room. The things that go on at parties where it's unlimited drugs, unlimited drinks, and celebrities is going to be a nice tale of tape if you record all of that, so from there, you can do things like get a trade approved that somebody couldn't get approved. You can get an agent to co-sign on something where he says, hey, this player isn't good enough, but you want my higher end player. I want a deal for him. So bring him to the league. You can get somebody pushed into a political seat or they're running for a political seat. You can do so many different things with organizations that work on a hierarchy. If you get to the head of that hierarchy and you're able to infiltrate or manipulate, this is negative. The negative version of manipulate the people at the top. I mean, it's an age-old tale. Like it's an age-old tale. People watch Game of Thrones. That's the same thing. You're gaining the leverage you need and able to enact whatever you want. So I believe him. I think that with Trump, they do a lot of conspiracy theory pushing, like when it came to QAnon and all those type of things. So I'm grain assaulting it or tablespoon assaulting it while I'm hearing them saying it. But I believe that it's ultimately some truth to that because it's basic power dynamics and how people trying to achieve whatever they're trying to get at that level, especially it becomes more cutthroat than anything. So, yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Manic.
Oh, I mean, I agree with both Bailey and Marcus. I don't really have too much to comment on it. I kind of stay away from political debates. But from more of a moral and ethical standpoint, I definitely could see how, because I did watch the documentary with that guy, Jeff, and there was a section in there where, the former president was painted in such a negative light, was trying to associate it there. And I did watch the clip, JR. So I like how Donald Trump Jr., spelled out that, hey, that was in 92, and then he went in Mar-a-Lago and was kicked out, because he was trying to do some like weird stuff. And, we weren't standing for it in 96. So it does paint that it does give a little bit more information on, on that matter. But yeah, I mean, this is common in real life, but it's even worse in politics. That's why I don't really like to comment on politics too much. Because manipulation, extortion, blackmail, that is just all a part of it. If you want to get somebody to do something and you have dirt on them, a lot of times people will concede and, fall in line rather than have their reputation, be destroyed, especially in the political arena, because it takes so long to build that up. So I don't doubt anything that they were saying in that conversation regarding the death of Kim Porter. It definitely had validity to it.
I want to add this too. When we played the Glorilla video earlier in the stream, so money does not always equal power.
Yeah.
If it's utilized correctly, it can get you the power. Asking, do you know who I am, to a beat officer or a regular traffic cop, that's a sign of not understanding what power actually looks like. Mm-hmm. Because they would comply, went to the station and walked clean out of there once somebody found out who that was with no charges, with the right type of leverage and the right wheels of power to turn. I think it's a decent juxtaposition when you look at the two and how those things play out. And it's not necessarily a finance thing, because I'm not even go that far into it. But yeah, money doesn't equal power.
Mm-hmm. All right. I like that. I'm going to go ahead and play this other video, this part 2 of it. We talked about Kim Porter. Here we go.
What do you think about that? He's someone who's, operated in that entertainment sphere that's kind of similar. And we do know, like, previously, I think it was maybe the 2008 election, like, he spearheaded the vote or die movement. And, he's kind of been politics adjacent, but he's been big. And it's kind of like, I know him and your father must have had relationships or whatever.
They did for a long time. And then he went full leftist, maybe because of some of the stuff he's been doing, because that whole thing's crazy. But it was interesting, like, and now it sort of all comes back together. Just, dude, like I said, I sort of grew up in that world. I grew up in New York. Before politics, like, I used to get invited to the cool person parties. I was there.
Did you ever
right?
hear anything?
Not those parts. So not me directly, but it's my ex-wife actually she was a model in New York, and like she was really good friends with Kim Porter, who was Diddy's wife, the one who died at 47 from pneumonia, and I was like,
that's what they
when
said.
that happened, she called me, and this was a couple years ago now, maybe not even, a couple years ago, and she called me like, something's up with that. I go, what do you mean? She's like, oh, dude, Kim used to tell me like, it was a bad, like there was a lot of weird shit that I didn't even know that, like, but they were like, you know, they'd do photo shoots together or whatever. They were sort of friendly. Like they'd hang out. Like we'd see them out downtown, and like I'd hang out with her. Not so much with Diddy. I think it was already sort of over there, but like she was really afraid of him, and it
Really?
yeah, like this goes back years, and so like, and she was having these conversations with my ex. I was like, I don't know what, like.
A lot of people believe that whatever happened there happened with the woman afterwards, which was Cassie, and supposedly
No,
she's
like I said, like I didn't. You sort of don't think about these things until now. You go back and you're like, holy, like I distinctly remember when Vanessa was like calls me, and was like, hey man, Kim Porter died. I go, what? Like we saw her like a couple of weeks, whatever it was, you know, and she goes, yeah man, she was sort of always in fear of something happening. And I was like, you know, maybe it's natural, but like not a lot of people die at 47 of pneumonia. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, wow. Especially people who, you know, obviously in good shape.
There's a shit ton of rumors.
Again, and I'm actually not trying to fuel any kind of rumor, but I definitely, like, that's a conversation I had. Like, you know, someone who knew her well, you know, was like friend, like they text, like, was like, something. She was like, she's like, something. She did not believe that was just natural.
All right. Go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah, one of the rumors, I don't know if anybody's familiar with the Lady Jaguar, right, or whatever, but she allegedly said that the original autopsy was deemed as homicide, and then there was a second autopsy made, which came out as pneumonia, and they further speculated that there's a way in which you could simulate the symptoms of that can also be done. I don't know, you know who Harold Washington is? Anybody know, like, Mayor Harold Washington? And the way they say he died, you could have extracted enough caffeine in order for it to be a lethal dose, and it would simulate the symptoms of a heart attack. So it's different ways that things could be done. And when you get to levels of power, all of those things could potentially be on the table depending on how bad you want something and one of the things they talk about with, I'm not saying Diddy specifically, but sometimes with men who are in positions of power, they have insatiable needs, and it's like what's next at all times. It's not so much about the sexual gratification at that point. It's about the control. So at that point, no matter what you're getting sexually, it might not be enough because you're trying to exert a level of control, and any bucking against that could result in something that's deadly. That because those can become potentially very dangerous situations just based off of that.
I know Kimora Lee Simmons came out and said, you remember that? She came out and said something about she was concerned for Kim, and I didn't watch the whole thing, but I do know that she spoke out about it too. One thing about it is, let's just be clear so people don't know, you can definitely die from pneumonia at any age. I had a friend who was 19 when we were in school who died from pneumonia. So it's very rare, but it can definitely happen. So go get checked out if you have pneumonia. But yeah, there are a lot of people who are her friends who had, you know, when she died, they were like, oh, it's a red flag, like something. They just feel like it was something more than what it really was. But, you know, who knows?
I feel like we all know the truth. We don't want to believe it. Once you hear something was conspiracy theory, you know, back in the day, they had all these rumors about Diddy doing this and that, and we didn't want to believe it growing up, but if 45 people are saying the same thing, come on, you got common sense. Like, you know, it's crazy. Oh, the Illuminati's not real and all that, but now y'all starting to see, like, 20 years ago, we saw it. It was in the music video. It was this, it was that. They was telling you everything. It was right in front of your face, but it was a conspiracy theory. That's how they shut people up. But, you know, you just got to open your mind and believe that's possible, I guess.
All right. Anybody else? Go ahead, Marcus. You want to say something?
The reason why go ahead.
I was just going to say, I find it pretty peculiar that there's been whispers, there's been rumors about these people for years, right? Everybody was privy to this information. We heard so much about it, and everybody knew, or not everybody, but many people knew what was going on. To me, if you would ask me, this is all, you know, this is just my opinion. I don't know anything, but in my opinion, I would say when you get into some of these groups, you just have to be very careful. One what group you allow yourself to get into, and you have to think about what it is that you have to do to be part of those groups. And it's like you have it. To me, it seems like you have to comply and you have to be in line with what the organization or group wants you to do, because at some point they could just call your number and be like, oh, he's not on our program. He's not with the shits no more, because this, like, everybody knew, like, you see, it really appears that the homeboy Epstein had a lot of information on a lot of people. And if I were one of those guys doing that, the only thing I would have did differently is I would have had somebody there to burn the house down, right? There would have been somebody waiting for whenever it was going to go down. All the videos would have went viral of everyone, and I would have burned the house down. I would have had somebody remote that they don't know about that has all the access that I have, somebody who I trust, and I don't care if I had to pay what to burn the house down, because
I don't care.
It's easy, because once your number's called, there's really nothing to do about it. It was real strange how home just goes to hell, and then the security guards are just sleeping, and the camera's just not working at that time. And yeah, it was a suicide. Cool. Okay. Like, come on, what we doing, man?
Yeah,
what we
that was
doing?
wild.
Everybody, we heard about Diddy for the longest. Everybody had the jokes. And now everything seems suspicious. His interactions with Usher now seem suspicious. His interactions with Bieber now seem suspicious. Kim Porter now seems suspicious. Everything now seems suspicious. Everything was already in front of our faces, but now we're just realizing that everything in retrospect is suspicious. All these things that were in front of our face the whole time, all of a sudden now seems like, oh, you know what? Wow, look at that. It's the same footage we're looking at.
You say everybody just turn the cheek on it, huh?
Yeah.
We didn't
Yeah,
also
boy.
have enough context, and like,
Well, you remember, I know it wasn't about P. Diddy, but y'all remember when Raz B came out and told about what was going on, and they kind of threw him to the side and, called him a joke. But
They say you crazy. We heard about what Jaguar riots. You heard a lot of people talking about this. Cat Williams kind of started bringing some stuff up too. Like, people knew about this. People knew about these parties, like all this stuff going on. And some people were kind of talking about it, but they always write you off as crazy.
I just don't understand how can they all come together and whatever was taking place think this stuff is okay. So everybody just messed up in the head. I mean, even
nobody
if
wants to be outed. If they did something, nobody wants to be that person who did it. So you're gonna deny it, like that never happened to me.
yeah, but they still going.
Because
They're
they
still-
want success and they want money and they want fame. This is what they have to do. 'Cause
They got to
set it
keep
up that
themselves
way.
in the light. That's addictive. You want to stay on top. I mean, you would do what you got to. Unfortunately, you do what you got to do. I mean, y'all get mad at women for doing it all the time. So now y'all see men doing it too.
plus everything but the most extreme things can start seeming normal to you. So you also got to think about the world they navigating in. Like, you also got to think about the world they navigating.
Yeah, like when you seen who is it? Like Will Smith's son when he came behind Justin Bieber.
Yeah, it was wild.
And was
Yeah. That was crazy. That was crazy.
Diabolically nasty work.
Yeah.
What happened? What happened? I didn't see it.
He gave him a beer hug from the back, pause, and then kissed him on the cheek. Like, it was weird, real nasty. He was grinding and everything. I couldn't believe what I
all
was.
I'm sure he was not grinding.
Came behind another brother.
Yeah.
Y'all know y'all be exaggerating. I'm sure.
No,
Not-
for real.
no.
For real.
No.
But it's
No, we're not.
Diddy right now.
Look it up.
They're not exaggerating.
No.
You are going to see the fall of a lot of celebrities after this. It's going to be
Maybe they
one by
like
one,
it.
like dominoes.
Let's see.
I don't think it's going to be a lot. I think it's going to be sacrificial people out of each group, and the majority of those people will be protected. Because, like I said, at that level, things that are not common for us, for people who are living in a regular life are very, very, very common. And one thing about pushing limits, it's always a limit to push, and then those groups become more secluded. Like it's some documentaries on a whole lot of things you can watch. One of them I recommend is this thing called Gaga and the Doctor. It's a story about these people in Korea and what they did. These men were blackmailing women via social media, and the men that get in the groups were taking pictures of their wives and children and sending them to the people so they could be in the group. That they would blackmail the girls that were underage. Like it's so many different crazy things going on, but they be below the, you know what I'm saying? Because they have people that are affiliated with the tops of society, finances and whatnot. That a lot of that stuff can go, you know, unreported on the right way. You would think that it would have been a #1 news story and it would have ran for years, but it was one like the reporter who broke the story was saying, I was expecting to get a like their version of a Pulitzer Prize for what I said. He said he just got one email that threatened him. That gave him his family's whereabouts, what time he picked his kids up from school. So he didn't get the reception he was thinking from breaking the story that big. He got threatened. And then I think he got fired from one of the positions, and it's called The Doctor and Gaga in Korea. Like if you look it up, you'll be amazed at some of the crazy stuff that people are doing.
Okay, I just saw The Grinding. It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wasn't exaggerating, were we?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, this is normal. I mean, like nobody around said anything.
They was all just like it was regular. It was cool. Hey Marcus, real quick, you've been around you know, a lot of celebs and everything. Have you ever seen anything rather peculiar? Okay, never mind. You already said it. Never.
Go ahead, Mark. No, okay.
Yeah.
Are you funny?
There's some strange things going on, bro. It's some strange. I'm not saying you partake. I don't believe that at all. But you've probably been. No,
he's saying not my circles.
So. Not my circles.
You know, it's so funny. I've been to a Diddy party before, and I've never seen anything like
what?
that. Mm-hmm.
Are you into a Diddy party?
Did you go in all the rooms?
The party I went to didn't have like back rooms. It was in a facility, and it was like, you know, section. It was like a Ciroc out. You know, it was an all white party. It was. I didn't see any rooms.
So the question is, how late did you stay? That's the question.
No, the question is.
Now the question would be, did they take the party somewhere else afterwards? Now that I do not know.
She took us some all that.
Well, that goes with how late did you stay? What party did you left?
It wasn't there.
I
was like, that's my question. Like, how late did you stay? Did you go to the after party, or did you just, went to the party and left?
I didn't.
The surface level stuff.
I told you I didn't see anything. It was a clean cut party.
These are really fun.
I don't know nobody, and I ain't seen shit.
I would tell you, I didn't see anything.
Oh, really?
Maybe that wasn't the right party.
You need to call your lawyer. Call your lawyer.
I didn't call